There we go. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you've not been here before, then welcome. My name is Elliot, and this right here is my favourite DS that I own. Now, the reason why it's my favourite is because it has a huge amount of sentimental value. I made a video about this 3 years ago, maybe, and the video has over 1 million views. And the point of this video is to remove this small piece of plastic, which for some reason I didn't notice when I put it back together, but now we're going to remove it because it's been annoying me that whole time. Before we go any further, I just would like to say a massive thank you to Established Titles for sponsoring this video. Now, without a doubt, this is the weirdest sponsorship I have ever taken, but I took it for good reason. Established Titles is a project in Scotland which follows old and historic custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in regular English. And so what Established Titles is offering is the unique opportunity to officially become a lord or lady. And that, ladies and gentlemen, or lords and ladies, is the reason I took this brand deal. Lord Elliot Cole, hereafter referred to as the Lord. Look, I know what you're thinking, this is a scam. I thought that too, so I straight up asked the company. I said, is this legally going to make me a lord, and is it 100% legitimate? They said they confirm after extensive consultation with their solicitors that this plot of land you're purchasing, known as a souvenir plot, is permitted in accordance with the definition of a souvenir plot of land under the Land Registration Scotland Act 2012 in section 22, if you want to check it out. Another thing I found really cool about the company is that they plant a tree for every bit of land that you buy, so I rate that. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot, so we can all build ourselves a kingdom together in Scotland. Go to establishedtitles.com/Elliot Cole and help support the channel. They're also offering 10% off with any purchase using code Elliot Cole. Back to the video. So the reason why it's so sentimental is because of the impact that amount of views can have on a channel. And at the time, my channel wasn't very big, and so it did massively help my channel. And it's continued to help my channel. It still gets views to this day. And essentially, the idea of the video is that I bought this bag of Nintendo 3DS parts off of eBay, and the idea of the video was just to reassemble it. And that was it. I reassembled it, and it worked. And that was the whole video. And everybody enjoyed it. And I've been waiting to find a bag of Nintendo 3DS parts ever since. Now, if you haven't taken apart a new Nintendo 3DS yet, then honestly, I'm jealous, because this is not a pleasant process, as you will discover throughout this video. So we're going to start off by removing the joystick, which, in fact, you know what? I think I'm just going to talk through what I'm doing as I do this instead of in some sort of tutorial. These small ribbon cables connectors, there are 2 different types. You can see there's one there with a little flap, and then the other one is not a flap, and it's sort of spring loaded, which makes the connection. And if you lift that up, then as you know with springs, they're very hard to sort of bend back into the position they were made to be in. So that can sometimes damage that and stop making a connection. Now there's a million ribbon cables in this, honestly, like, someone please count and leave a comment down below, because there are just so many, and there's so many different connectors. There's one, I think, for the Wi-Fi antenna, and then you've got another one here for the separate PCB that does the power and also the buttons, the action buttons. And then we've got a microphone, we've got the home button, there's the wires for the battery. So then there's more ribbons under here. Gonna have to remove those. This tool that comes in the iFixit Pro toolkit is super helpful. This video is not sponsored by iFixit, but super helpful there to making this possible. You can sort of just get it underneath, kind of like a fingernail, except on the end of a stick, which is kind of like a finger, except just even more precision. So now we can remove the screen, and you can see that small bit of plastic has actually done quite a lot of damage over the years. And there it is. There it is, right there in the flesh, the culprit. How it got there, I don't know. Was it my fault? Most likely. But there it is. Absolutely tiny, causing me loss of sleep for years, basically. No other impact at all. The thing still worked perfectly fine. But it was always a thing on my list. And today is the day that I fix it. But not the day that you're watching this. But on a recent day. In fact, the exact date happens to be Monday the 17th of October. And that was the day. So we can put the cartridge port back in. I like that this is kind of modular. That's a really cool feature. I don't know why it's modular. Potentially for the future-proofing and the repairability of it. But I don't think Nintendo would take that into consideration. But maybe it's just easier for them to make it modular. I don't actually really know why. Maybe you could let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on why it's modular. But it's really cool anyway. And it's easy to repair because you don't have to desolder the cartridge slot. You can just buy the whole new board. This is the expensive part though. This is the actual motherboard. I suppose the rest are daughter boards, subsequent boards, PCBs that deal with other things. But this one is the one with all of the CPU, the chips, the RAMs, the doohickeys, all those things, those words that impress the women. So we can go ahead now and put the ribbon cable back in. You can see what I mean there. It's sort of spring loaded. I know there's going to be a bunch of people saying don't use metal tweezers, but honestly, I'm being really, really gentle with this. So we can go ahead and close that down there. You can see the difference between the two. And this is the cable for the batteries. Now, I make a few mistakes, which is absolutely fine because I learn from them. But I do make a few mistakes. And the first one is that I didn't know where this went. And I thought, well, that's fine. But it wasn't fine. I had to take the whole screen out and do it all again, which was really frustrating because it takes a long time to undo all the ribbons. Anyhow, that was it then, done. And then you can see the infuriating amount of ribbon cables that you have to juggle around the place as you try and sit the motherboard back into place. And honestly, it is just a game of wrestling with ribbons throughout this entire process. Look at that. I mean, that is just unbelievable. And then it gets worse. I can't remember why, but there's more ribbon cable juggling in just a second. Here we go. It's because I have to put this back in because I took it out. And then all the ribbons have gone underneath the motherboard again. And at this point, I'm losing the will to live. But there we go. We can pry them all out again. And then some more. And then one more right there. And that's it. Now we have to connect them all. So that wasn't too hard. So we can seat them all back into place. The microphone right there again. A lovely little modular thing. So that if you're screaming at the top of your lungs and it somehow blows, if that's even possible, then you can replace it. More likely it could be like a water spillage, but you can replace it nonetheless. So there we have it. That's most of the ribbons back in down that end. We've got another one here, something to do with the screen, potentially the backlight. I have actually plugged these in already, but obviously I'm plugging them in again because I had to take the board out to take the screen out. So I don't advise this as your first repair, honestly. I mean, this isn't really a repair as much as it's just a disassembly and a reassembly, which is, you know, not too difficult. It just requires a bit of willpower and confidence. But it's still something that I probably wouldn't advise taking apart as your first thing, because to have the understanding of ribbon cables, you can see that one's slightly wonky, but that one's fine. It still makes a connection. To have the understanding of the tolerances of all of these little latches and connectors is something that really comes with experience, and you have to be so delicate, like unbelievably delicate, and it is quite a difficult thing to do. I've broken ribbon cable connectors before. It happens. So these are for the shoulder buttons. These are incredibly finicky to juggle into place because that shell piece on the back just wants to slide around. But you can just about manage it. although you might not be able to see it on camera. We can get all of them in. And then we can put the back on. Now there's actually something else that I've missed, which for some eagle-eyed viewers will notice that I didn't showcase yet. But it's not what you're thinking. It's not this, which was also a pain in the ass to put in, especially on camera. But it's not this. There is something else that I've missed, and we're going to find out right now. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as I thought, although I was being incredibly dramatic. I actually stopped what I was doing and went and made a coffee and stood staring out the window for 20 minutes. But I actually realised that you just have to take the back off and it just goes straight back in. So it really wasn't that much of an inconvenience, but I am a drama queen. So now we can put the screws into the back of the shell and pop that back faceplate on, which is really cool because it allows you to customize your DS. And there we have it. Now there's one other thing that I did which was off camera, which was that the home button connection wasn't very good. So I took it apart again and just reseated that and it works absolutely fine now. But there we have it. It is all fixed. And I'm very pleased and relieved. And I will hopefully sleep well tonight. And hopefully you will too. Good night, or good morning, or good afternoon. Wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, whatever your name is, I love you deeply. Goodbye.